Hello and welcome to Pisces Moon Astrology. I'm your astrologer, Kait Leonard, and I'm excited to explore the stars with you. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to the week of December 15th through December 21st, and you know what that means. We end this week with winter solstice, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. This is a big one, and it's big in that seasonal wheel turning kind of way. However, the winter solstice isn't what I'm going to focus on mostly this week. There are a few other energetic complexities that I'm going to talk about. So thank you for being here. Do all the likes and the shares and the follows. I'm really grateful for that. And let's jump right into it. Oh, and I'm changing things up again a little bit. This week is so complicated that I am not going to go through the houses. Please let me know in the comments of my Substack, which hopefully you're subscribed to. It's totally free. On Instagram, however you can get to me, let me know if you want to know how things are hitting you by house, because I can do that, but it does mean that I can't go into quite the same complexity of the astrology. So you let me know, okay? Now, finally, jumping right into it, I am calling this week Clear Thought, Blurry Vision. Why is that? Because Mercury is stationing direct right at the start of this week. That is a good thing. We're going to get a little bit of clarity of thought, and our technology might start working again. I don't know about you, but everything I have, every bit of technology I own, totally blew out this last week. So hopefully that's coming to an end. But the blurry vision part is the sun squaring Neptune. And y'all know I really don't like Neptune. And this is going to be one of those times when you get to see why. So let's get into the dates and look at what's going on. On December 15th, Mercury? That's not the name of the planet. Mercury stations direct in Sagittarius. This is going to mean that a lot of that rethinking, revising, all of that stuff we've been doing, that stuff is going to we'll be able to start moving forward, right? It'll be time to take all that rethinking and move ahead with it. Then on December 18th, the sun, who is also in Sagittarius, now this is where it gets really complicated, is going to square Neptune in Pisces. Ever try to see clearly underwater? Not so easy. And then finally, we close out the week on December 21st when the sun moves into Capricorn, and happy holidays. It is winter solstice. So here are the details. Like I said, we start out the week with Mercury stationing direct. This is fantastic. I am not one of those people who has to re-record things and redo things. Oh my gosh, the re-recordings or glitches, just weird things. Like my browser on my internet just completely wiped out everything. Everything, all my passwords, all my bookmarks, all my everything. I don't know if you've been going through it too, but technology for me has been insane during this Mercury retrograde. And thankfully, that should be pretty much done starting off this week. Now, have I had those other experiences, all the revising and all of that? Absolutely. So I hope you guys have all been feeling all of the good part of that, not the techno part of that. But anyway, it is coming to an end. So what that means, we should now be able to start making real forward momentum. Okay. Now I'm going to slow us down a little on that a little bit later in the episode. So don't just jump off the diving board into the deep end yet, because there's a little snafu in this, but not a really bad one, right? But we will nevertheless start moving forward and maybe stop so much of that going back over things. All right. So that is super, super good. Now, remember, Mars is still retrograde. So while this is a really good thing, this Mercury going direct, okay, I don't want to minimize that, but it's not like we're going to be clear thinking now, ready to move forward because we've done our revisions, and boom, we are just going to be off and running down the highway. Not so much. Mars is retrograde until the last week in February. And so we're still treading water a little bit with some of the just getting stuff done. Okay. So it's kind of two things. Mars and Mercury are very different planets. Our brains are going to be clearer. Our communication is going to be more clear. So, writing, content creating, creating contracts, signing contracts, writing out business proposals, all of that mercurial stuff, right? And just clarity of thought and having our technology work. Okay, I'm going to let that go, but you know what I mean? It was a bad time. All of that stuff is clearing up now this week. As Mercury picks up speed during the next week or two, it's going to get better and better and better. So the intellectual and communicative stuff is going to move forward. But are we just going to be all systems go, get these projects done, everything's launched? No, because of that Mars retrograde. And this is a long one. It's going to change though. On January 6th, Mars is going to leave Leo, still retrograde, and go back into Cancer. So the tone of that Mars retrograde is going to change. I think that we're going to be doing more when Mars leaves Leo, but I think we're going to be a little bit more emotional as well. So I'll do an episode where I talk about that when we get a little bit closer to it. But just know that as long as Mars is retrograde, and that's until late February, it's just not going to be full steam ahead. Also, be aware that while your thoughts are going to clear up and all the stuff we've already talked about, Mars retrograde just leaves us a little bit tired. So, if you've been feeling a little bit like, oh my gosh, I'm just so tired, am I getting sick? Everybody I talk to, I'm slamming busy right now because everybody does their year ahead readings. Thank you all to my lovely clients. But every single person is like, oh my gosh, why am I so tired? Do I need a medical reading? Maybe I'm getting sick. I'm not saying you're not getting sick. I am not a doctor, but I can tell you Mars is energy. It's our get up and go, our oomph, right? So retrograde, we're tired. We're a little bit under it, right? We need more rest. That's just all there is to it. So even though Mercury is moving direct and is picking up steam, and that is certainly a good thing, still be aware that you will probably be a little bit low energy and need a little more rest, and just honor that, because honestly, the best way to use planetary energies is to accept their gifts. Even when those are kind of more difficult gifts, they will hit you less aggressively, or I don't know if that's the right word, but they'll hit you differently in a less disruptive way, maybe, if we try to embrace what they're giving. So if you're already giving yourself more rest rather than fighting that, it's Mars, don't fight it, you're going to lose. So if you stop fighting and you just give yourself more rest, then the energy you have will be good energy and you'll be able to use it. Does that make sense? But if you fight it and you're like, no, I'm not going to go to bed, it's too early, I can get this one more thing done, or whatever it is, then you're going to be exhausted tomorrow again, and you're going to get still less done. Do you see where I'm going? So just embrace that this is a time of more rest. And that kind of fits the solstice season anyway, with winter and all of that. So not a bad thing to do. The other thing, however, is Mars rules our initiative, right? And it makes sense. You don't have energy. You don't want to go out and initiate things. So again, moving ahead with those ideas that are now clearing up and crystallizing for us, yeah, it might not be as sort of exciting and dramatic as we'd like it to be. So just be aware of that. It's fine and it will all work out. It's just going to take a little bit of time. And if all of that is not enough, and I know I hear you, Kait, that's enough. Let it go. Trust me, I live this energy too. I'm feeling you. On 12/18, the sun is going to square, that's a difficult aspect, the god of the ocean. You know I don't like Neptune, and that's who I'm talking about. Neptune, already the god of the ocean, in Pisces, the ocean. Oh my gosh. And the sun, what is sun? Our clarity, how we shine in the world, how we're seen and how we see is now making a difficult aspect with the ocean, with Neptune. I think I said this at the beginning, but have you ever jumped in the ocean and opened your eyes? It's kind of dark. Even if the sun is out, a whole lot of light doesn't get through there. And even if you're someplace cool like Hawaii or one of those really clear water places, the vision is still distorted, right? Water distorts vision. So even if the sun is getting in, our vision is not clear. And so I said December 18th is when this goes exact. We're going to feel this energy all week long. In fact, my guess is we've already been feeling it before this week a little bit, and we've probably been blaming the Mercury retrograde. It goes exact this week. And the good news is once it's done, it's done. But let's talk about it just a bit. So like I said, I'm not going to go into all the houses, but I think if you really consider the themes, you'll get it. Then do look at your natal chart and you can figure out more what issues in your life might be at play. But for this one, it's probably good enough just to know what the themes are. So we've got the sun, as I said, how we shine in the world, how we're seen and how we see. And that's in Sagittarius. And so that's still that long range goals, our big plans, optimism and all of that kind of thing, right? Sagittarius is such a beautiful sign. So, the sun wants to illuminate that path forward. And the sun wants to bring attention to us by shining the spotlight on us in all of those big things that we're doing, right? So you have this big plan to become get a promotion at your job or become the most famous influencer on Instagram or whatever it is, right? And the sun is it's like you're on the stage and the sun shines the spotlight on you so that people can see your genius and your greatness. That's what sun in Sagittarius is all about. Neptune in Pisces. Pisces is spirituality. It's emotion, but it's deep emotion, right? It's dissolving barriers. It is our psychology. Pisces has a lot to do with psychology, especially that deep, deep, murky subconscious that we don't see so well, right? And Neptune is the modern ruler. Now, I will point out that Neptune's the modern ruler. I'm a Hellenistic astrologer. I don't really go by that, but I did want to point it out. Pisces and Sagittarius are actually both ruled by Jupiter. So both of these signs have a lot to do with each other. They share some core energy. And if you look at them, we can see that equal and opposite kind of thing, right? Sagittarius is looking out. Pisces is looking in and deep. So these are very interesting, both kind of intense signs in their own way. Neptune, however, okay, I'm going to get into it again. Neptune does have a lot to do with spirituality, creativity, all of that. But Neptune also has to do with illusion, delusion, straight out lying. I don't love it. Because he rules things like acting. What are you doing when you're acting? You're lying, right? You're saying, who am I? I'm Marilyn Monroe. Well, I'm not. I'm just Kate. You know what I mean? So in that way, that's the good Neptune, right? But in other ways, that's just deceit. Okay. So you see how Neptune can be so wonderful and yet so truly terrible as well. And the problem is, how do we decide which one he's being? Well, in Pisces, normally we'd be getting the best of Neptune, except he's squaring the sun. That's difficult energy. When that kind of thing happens, we're more likely to get the less than wonderful part of Neptune. Okay, and I'm being as generous as I can, I promise you. So we've got this underwater stuff, and we've got the sun wanting to shine, and they just don't go together very well. And so this week, I just think we're going to have some blurry vision. That's the problem. I think our plans are coming together because of Mercury going direct finally, but I think we're not going to be seeing the terrain really well. So I've got my plan for what I want to do, but when I look ahead and try to figure out what are my next steps, I might have very, very faulty vision. And you know what that really means is I'm not seeing it correctly. Okay. So we'll be like, okay, my book is ready to be published. And you start sending it out. And then you go back over it later after you get a zillion rejections. And it's like, I sent this out like this? What was I thinking? And it's like, we didn't see it clearly. Or we sent it to people, and it's more likely this kind of thing, using the book metaphor. We sent it to people that weren't the right people, that looked like the good editor or agent, and there was some reason why we should have known they weren't, right? This could be true in anything. We present our project at work to the supervisor who always vetoes that kind of project, right? But at the time, that looked like the right person to go to. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's that we're just not seeing everything clearly yet. So move slowly this week. It's not bad, and it's not going to stay bad. By the time you're hearing this, it really is. We've probably already been in it, and it really is only a week left to go. So just go a little bit slowly, double check, recheck. Before you sign a contract, even though Mercury's direct, read it really carefully, you know, that kind of thing. Just go a little bit slower, which the Mars retrograde will help you do, and just check and double check, okay? And then it's done, because on the 21st, we're in winter solstice. We hit winter solstice. And what does that mean? That means the sun has moved into Capricorn. And this is a whole new thing now. The square is over. We should be moving forward. We should be seeing things more clearly. We still have Mars retrograde, so a little bit lower energy, a little bit like I should, but I don't have quite the oomph to get out there. Nevertheless, the steps we take should be more sure-footed. Remember, Capricorn, the mountain goat, is very sure-footed. Also, Capricorn is all about climbing to the peak. It is going to go the distance. It reaches success. It knows how to put the work in and get that stuff done. All right. So we enter a much, much better phase. We've just got 1 week to get through it, and we go into a much better time as far as finally realizing some of our goals. And I want to remind you that even though this is winter solstice, so we're going to have that little period, a couple of days, I think it actually lasts maybe 3, when the world is the darkest, right? But the second after you hit that peak, we're already now increasing the light. Days get longer right after solstice, just gradually, the sun returns and our days get longer. So on solstice. That's why so many cultures have light festivals, right? Lighting fires in the fireplace, candles, putting lights on their houses, lights on their trees, all kinds of winter holidays. I don't even know them all, and I apologize for that. I am not a world religion person. But anyway, seasonally, it is a time of bringing in the light. And of course, there's this wonderful, magical, seasonal coming together where we call in the light with our candles and our lights of all kinds. And look, the sun returns because we are so powerful. And of course, we are, especially if we're aligned to nature. So do those things this week. Winter is a good time for honoring the dark. It is a good time for taking things a little bit slower, reading a good book by the fire, if you're lucky enough to have a fireplace, drinking the hot chocolate with the kids in the evening before you bundle them off to bed, and maybe their bedtimes are even a little bit later because of Christmas break or winter break at school. So honor the season. It will go well with the Mars retrograde anyway, when we don't want to, just slam forward as it is. It's a good time to replenish. It's a good time to honor self, aloneness, time spent huddling under the blanket and watching old movies with friends, right? It's that kind of time. So honor it, enjoy the season, and the light is returning. And believe it or not, Mars really will eventually go forward. But it's a better time. We just need to kind of play this week right. And then things slowly but surely start getting back on track and moving forward. And before you know it, it'll be spring. And there it is. All right. I hope this was helpful to everyone. Again, as I already said, thank you so much. Thank you for being here, listening to the podcast, supporting it week after week. Thank you so much for sharing it. I can't tell you what that means to me. And that's kind of it. So until next week, go out and seize the energies of the stars. This is always my wish for you. Until next week. Bye.